What's up, Pokemon trainers? Today I want to talk about what is perhaps my favorite beginning to any adventure ever. Pokemon I Choose You, episode 1 of over 1,000 episodes in the mainline Pokemon anime. On September 8th, 1998, children across America were introduced to the world of Pokemon. Now, I wasn't even alive when this tank of nostalgia hit WB for kids, but I kinda prefer it that way. These original episodes of the anime are like my version of the Bible.
I remember the story of Noah.
The lucky kids who stumbled upon this holy show were greeted with the US release of Red and Blue just 20 days after the original episode premiered. Imagine finding this awesome show that oddly begins with a video game-like clip, only to find out less than a month later that you, like Ash, can set out on your own adventure through the Pokemon world. At the start of the episode, we are introduced to Ash Ketchum, a 10-year-old kid who gets to embark on a journey catching, befriending, and battling magical creatures called Pokemon. I have loved Ash Ketchum for as long as I can remember. I remember my mom promising that I could change my name to Ash when I turned 10 years old, anticipating that, by then, I would have grown out of it. Well, I'm 23 now, Mom, so it would really be appreciated if you would hold up your end of the bargain.
We learn that Ash is up too late and his mom fears that he won't wake up on time. Her fears are realized as Ash breaks his alarm clock while dreaming of his 3 options of which Pokemon he can get.
The classic Charmander, Squirtle, Bulbasaur dilemma. Ash wakes up and, realizing he's late, he sprints over to Professor Oak's lab only to be greeted by the second biggest dick in the entire anime, Gary Oak. Gary represents a version of Ash that had everything from the start. Since Ash's father isn't in the picture and his mother doesn't seem interested in Pokemon training, it's to be assumed that any and all qualifications Ash may have had to achieve for his Pokemon license were achieved by him and him alone. Conversely, Gary is the grandson of a world-renowned Pokemon professor and has cheerleaders following him around everywhere he goes, glazing his ass at the age of 10 when he hasn't even become a goddamn Pokemon trainer yet. It's human nature for a person to envy someone who comes from more privilege than them. This makes Gary the perfect rival for Ash. After getting Gary's generational wealth and fame rubbed in his face, Ash is greeted by a ticked-off Professor Oak who reveals that Ash was too late. The 3 Pokemon have already been taken by trainers who were on time.
But I wanted Agumon. That's from Digimon, Ash. This is Pokemon.
Ash pleads with Professor Oak, who acquiesces, revealing that there is one more Pokemon. But it's one that isn't very friendly towards humans. Ash desperately pleads for it as it's his only chance to start his journey. This is when Ash meets the Pokemon who will become his best friend, Pikachu. Pikachu makes his intentions very clear by frying the shit out of Ash and Professor Oak. However, Ash remains determined to be its trainer. After an embarrassing send-off from his mom, Ash is off, pulling a begrudging Pikachu along with a rope and rubber gloves as to not conduct the electricity. Ash encounters a bunch of issues that only a novice trainer would have to deal with. He loses to a Pidgey, his food gets stolen by a Rattata. All the while, the Pokédex mocks him while Pikachu laughs. Ash attempts to fight another Pidgey by throwing a rock at it, only to realize it was a Spearow.
Unlike Pidgey, Spearow has a terrible attitude. It is very wild and will sometimes attack other Pokemon and humans.
To Ash and Pikachu's surprise, the entire flock of Spearow begin to dart after them. Now that it has no choice, Pikachu allows Ash to attempt to run them both to safety, where they find themselves jumping off a waterfall and getting rescued by a trainer who is fishing for water-type Pokemon.
Misty! Misty!
As the Spearow are after them, Ash exclaims,
I'm borrowing this!
and steals Misty's bike. This ends up being the reason Misty travels with Ash for 5 seasons. Finally, Ash and Pikachu are backed into a corner. The Spearow are here, and they're going to attack. Ash begs Pikachu to get inside of its Pokeball as he makes perhaps one of the most badass statements of purpose in any children's show ever.
Do you know who I am? I'm Ash from the town of Pallet. I'm destined to be the world's #1 Pokemon master. I can't be defeated by the likes of you. I'm going to capture and defeat you all. You hear me? Pikachu, go inside the Pokeball. It's the only way. Come and get me!
It hits a little different watching this back 27 years after the original US air date, because if you continued to follow the anime, you'd know that Ash does do this. While Ash's definition of what a Pokemon Master is changes, he does indeed become the greatest trainer in the world. This undeniably noble determination of Ash prompts Pikachu to gather the strength to save itself and Ash by mustering an electric attack more powerful than a Pikachu at its skill level should be able to muster. This is Pikachu's way of telling Ash that he is a trainer that it views as worthy of it. When the dust clears, they are no longer in danger. The clouds part to reveal a beautiful rainbow as Ash and Pikachu watch a golden Pokemon fly across it. At the time, Ho-Oh wasn't even in the original Pokemon games. So this was a truly unknown mythical creature.
What's that?
There is no data. There are still Pokemon yet to be identified.
I remember very early in my childhood, before Sinnoh came out, my brother and I just assumed that Ho-Oh was the god of all Pokemon. According to the Pokédex, seeing Ho-Oh grants the viewer with eternal happiness. This is how most fans explain away Ash remaining a 10-year-old kid for the 24-year run of the anime. This moment is what makes Ash and Pikachu's dreams of being the very best like no one ever was come true. And that is what makes the first episode of Pokemon magical.
Thanks for watching, and I'll smell you later.